Alright guys, in today's video we have more PlayStation news and information to go over and talk about. We have multiple topics we're going to be covering in this video, so before we dive into it, if you could do me a big favor and hit the like button to help the video out and show your support, I would really appreciate that. And make sure you hit the subscribe button as well if you're new to the channel. We're starting here with some really good news for the PlayStation 5. As it was revealed, the PlayStation 5 is apparently the fastest selling system in US history. It says here Sony may be keeping things concerningly close to its chest, but make no mistake, the PlayStation 5 is a runaway freight train that's going to be difficult to slow down. February's NPD report, which tracks hardware and software sales in the United States, reveals that the next-gen PlayStation is now the fastest-selling format in US history based on dollar sales across its first 4 months on the market. Now, I want you to understand how significant this is because right now, the PlayStation 5 is still hard to find, and it's going to remain that way most likely for the rest of the year. It's probably not going to be readily available to just buy at any retailer at will until sometime in 2022. That's just the reality of the situation. But even during all of this, the PlayStation 5 is still managing to become the fastest selling console in US history, at least based off of its first 4 months. Now, another reason why this is impressive is because when consoles first release, that's arguably when the most amount of people are going to go out there and buy it. So anytime a new console releases, it is important to pay attention to the type of start it gets. How well does it sell within its first couple of months? Is it lagging behind? Because it can tell you whether or not it's going to be as popular, less popular, or maybe more popular than the previous generation hardware. And I've been predicting for some time now that the PlayStation 5 is going to turn out to be one of the most popular PlayStation consoles ever, if not the most popular, possibly even surpassing the PlayStation 2. We still won't know if that's going to happen. It'll be quite some time before we can really kind of get an idea of how well this console is going to sell. But one of the reasons why I do pay attention to how well hardware sells is because the better a console sells, the more support in general it's going to receive. And that's something that, as somebody who owns this console, I am very much interested in. I don't think anybody doubted that the PlayStation 5 was going to sell well, but I am surprised to see that it's doing this well, considering Sony is apparently nowhere near meeting the overall demand. Now, on top of that, apparently the gaming industry as a whole tallied up a record $4.6 billion, which is insane. And on top of that, we have Spider-Man Miles Morales charting on the top 10 once again for February of 2021. It's actually at the number 4 spot. And again, this is a game that just continues to hang in there. It makes it to the top 5 seemingly every single month. And it will be interesting to see how long it stays within that top 5 or top 10. And it's worth noting that the DualSense controller has retained its position as the industry's most popular accessory. At this point, we're obviously just waiting to find out when we're going to be able to buy DualSense controllers that offer a different color scheme. But all in all, I'm happy to share this news with you guys because the PlayStation 5 is a console that I'm really enjoying, and it's the start of a new generation, and I am a big fan of console gaming, and I want to see every console succeed. But what Sony's doing with PlayStation, what they're doing with their single-player exclusive games, I want to see this console succeed because I want to see those games succeed, and it's off to an incredible start. So there you go. Moving on from that, though, we are talking a little bit about Sony Santa Monica's new IP. Now, we don't know for sure if this is in fact a new IP that they're working on, but all signs seem to point to it being a new IP and not necessarily anything related to God of War. So it says here Sony Santa Monica is hiring for a lead writer for a new unannounced game. Given that the next God of War has already been announced, it's unlikely to be the game in question. This role seems to be for whatever will come from the studio following Kratos' next adventure. Unfortunately, the job listing itself doesn't offer many hints or much insight about what form that game may take. The job posting simply says that they are seeking a lead writer for the development of a new unannounced title. It asks applicants to join the studio as they embark on a new journey to create genre-defining games. Additionally, the listing says they want a writer who can marry narrative and gameplay and will craft powerful storylines, strong character arcs, and compelling dialogue while building and developing the writing team on the game. So even though we don't know exactly what this game is, I think it's safe to say that this is a new IP that Sony Santa Monica is working on, and it's worth noting that this will potentially be the first new IP since they created God of War back in 2005. So whatever it is they're working on, they clearly want it to be a big success. They want it to be the best it can possibly be. And most importantly, one thing we can learn from this job posting is that this is going to be a very story-heavy game, a game that, as it says here, will marry narrative and gameplay. I think that's something that God of War 2018 did an exceptional job with, and we are going to obviously continue to see that with God of War Ragnarok, or whatever it ends up being called, but it seems like that's going to continue into whatever this new IP may be. A lot of people have been speculating for some time now that it's going to be a sci-fi based IP, something that's just way different than what we've seen with God of War, and I hope it is that. I'm open to anything, honestly. I'm excited to see whatever Santa Monica is going to do next outside of God of War. It's going to be a massive undertaking. The only downside to this is we probably won't hear about this game for a very long time, but I don't think that that's going to be a big deal because we have the next God of War to hold us over, and something tells me that will be more than enough to get us through until we hear about whatever this game is. But there you go. We have Sony Santa Monica, once again confirming that they are continuing work on this new unannounced game. So we just have to wait to find out what it is. But now I want to talk about something that I haven't seen many other people cover or talk about, and that is the fact that apparently the PlayStation 5 is set to get some new anti-cheat technology that I think PlayStation players will certainly be appreciative of. And so this was revealed in a press release recently that Lenovo has joined Sony's PlayStation 5 tools and middleware program. This means that game developers can now use Lenovo in their PlayStation 5 games to prevent cheating and hacking. And so it says here, cheating ruins video games for honest players. This can lead to lower engagement, game traffic, and shrinking revenues for game publishers. We are really proud to be able to help the world's most talented developers to bring rich experiences for gamers on PlayStation 5. Now, again, this is something that I have not seen many people talk about, but it could be a big deal for the PlayStation 5. When you're playing on console, it's not too often you run into cheaters or hackers, or at least in my experience, because it's a more closed system. But knowing that developers will have access to these tools and this technology to help make sure that it kind of stays that way, or maybe makes it even more difficult, I'm all for that. I'm not a fan of cheating, obviously. I don't like it. I don't like, seeing people do it. I don't like running into people who are doing it. It really is true. It does ruin an experience, so knowing that this is going to be there gives me a little bit more reassurance. But I want to close out this video by just letting everybody know that there will be a PlayStation related live stream that's going to be happening, and it's called Play. I mean, pretty straightforward name there. It says on PlayStation, there are usually a few big Japanese games to look forward to. On the horizon for PS5, we have Resident Evil Village and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, just to name two, and they're only a couple of months away. It seems Sony's looking to share more on these titles. PlayStation Japan has just announced a live stream featuring them both, and it's entitled Play. The broadcast is scheduled for March 21st. It appears that the two aforementioned games will be the only ones covered, with the live stream taking the format of a talk show, according to Gamatsu. Key figures from Capcom and Square Enix will be present to discuss Village and Intergrade, respectively. So I just wanted to let everybody know that this is something you can look forward to if you are looking forward to Resident Evil Village or Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I think that these are two titles that a lot of PlayStation fans are looking forward to. I know I am. So there you go. It's not necessarily the big PlayStation 5 event that we're waiting to hear about. It's not a state of play. It's just a standalone event dedicated to these two games where I assume we'll get a little bit more gameplay details. And yeah, there you go. So that's happening again on March 21st. So not too long from now. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.